User identities. User identities represent people such as employees and external users, customers, consultants, vendors, and partners. In Microsoft Entra ID, user identities are characterized by how they authenticate and the user type property. How the user authenticates is asked relative to the host organization's Microsoft Entra ID tenant and can be internal or external. Internal authentication means the user has an account on the host organization's Microsoft Entra ID and uses it to authenticate to Microsoft Entra ID. Workload identities. You assign a workload identity to a software workload. This enables the software workload to authenticate to and access other services and resources. In Microsoft Entra, workload identities are applications, service principals, and managed identities. Service principals. A service principal is essentially an identity for an application that delegates its identity access functions to Microsoft Entra ID. For the service principals to be able to access resources secured by the Microsoft Entra ID tenant, application developers must manage and protect the credentials. If not done correctly, this can introduce security vulnerabilities. Managed identities help offload that responsibility from the developer. Device identities. A device is a piece of hardware, such as mobile devices, laptops, servers, or printers. Device identities can be set up in different ways in Microsoft Entra ID. A workload identity is an identity you assign to a software workload, such as an application, service, script, or container, to authenticate and access other services and resources. Generally speaking, a workload identity is something you need for your software entity to authenticate with some system. In Microsoft Entra, workload identities are applications, service principals, and managed identities. An application is an abstract entity, or template, defined by its application object. The application object is the global representation of your application for use across all tenants. The application object describes how tokens are issued, the resources the application needs to access, and the actions that the application can take. Here are some ways that workload identities in Microsoft Entra ID are used. An app that enables a web app to access Microsoft Graph based on admin or user consent. This access could be either on behalf of the user or on behalf of the application. Secure access with adaptive policies. Apply conditional access policies to service principals owned by your organization using conditional access for workload identities.